Hey, all you beans out there. Welcome back to the Bean Podcast today. One second. I'm actually just going to type this in. I might start that intro over. Okay. Hey, all you beans out there. Welcome to the Coffee Bean Podcast. This is episode 2. I am so pumped to have all of you here. Today we're going to go over a few different things, including cold brew from the summer, talking about, some of the different things that are happening just kind of in the coffee world that I'm seeing right now. One of the biggest questions that I've been getting asked lately is, what age do you think is appropriate for kids to start drinking coffee? My answer differs than a lot of other people's answers. So if you have your own answer, please pop that down in the comments below. I would love to see all your answers for what you guys think the age should be for, starting coffee. But yeah, looking in at all the new coffee news, it looks as if, one of the big things right now that's popping is cold brew. And that makes sense. These hot summer months are hitting hard. And, I know that one of the biggest things is a lot of people's air conditioning and getting overheated and stuff definitely can be soothed by, taking a cold beverage, especially if it's that beautiful thing we all like call cold brew coffee. Now, there are a few different types of cold brew, and I wanted to talk a little bit about steeping in cold brew, because not enough people know enough about steeping. And so what happens is you get people who, they pour the grounds into a filter, they drop it into a pot of water, and then they let it sit and get cold, they add ice really fast, and it ends up not being what they love. Now, the reason I think behind that is because they've not let it steep. Now, the way I like making it is by actually letting it steep in hot water and then letting it cool in the fridge. Now, this can be kind of a controversial method just because of the fact that a lot of people actually pour cold water. I think regardless of the water, you should be fine, except for I think that hot water actually helps bring out some of those other nutrients and oils inside of the actual coffee beans that have been kind of stowed away in that roasting process, and I think that it's just one of the nicer things. But yeah, looking into coffee right now, we still have a lot of BTS stuff that's, super, super popping right now. And I think that that's awesome. I know that mousse caramel coffee cakes have been kind of popping up lately. And I know that Dalgona coffee was actually a huge trend just a little bit ago with the whole TikTok blowing up Dalgona coffee, which is great. I did, however, I'm going to go to the hashtag for my podcast. Give me 1 second. I'm just on my computer so I can find all the awesome coffee info for all of you guys. We're just going to go and put in... I can also bring up my other one too, which is Coffee Time with Wesley, if you guys didn't know. Sweet. Awesome. So I was looking at some of the things that they have going on here. And one of the biggest things is this guy. I think he's a DJ. It was, let me see if I can find it. He's a DJ, and what happened is his name is, I think, Black Coffee. I could be wrong. I think it was Black Coffee. Point is he made some racial comments, and to another person, and basically what happened was, it spiraled out of control, causing a lot of coffee drama. Even though it's just his DJ name, it ended up being insane. One thing I have been seeing a lot of lately, which is actually kind of popped my interest, was Espresso Martinis, which I think is super interesting. A martini on its own is really nice, but I think adding the espresso might be an interesting flavor that you'll definitely get out of that that you normally would not be getting. So I think that that's a really interesting concept. I think that it's one of those interesting things that you could definitely work with, coming around the next cold brew few months while that's in stock and in everybody's mind. But yeah, so I think those espresso martinis definitely you might be seeing a little more of in the upcoming months. So looking here on the hashtag, I actually am seeing a few different things that people have been tweeting at me. My man Joseph, he says, coffee bean lost its kosher status and is closing up everywhere. Now, I'd like to fact check this, so I'm just going to look up coffee bean kosher status, because I actually have been asked this a few times, and I haven't known how to reply. So, it says right here, As of June 8th, 2020, it looks like they will no longer be kosher, which is the coffee bean and tea leaf, it looks like. They will continue using kosher ingredients. However, the kitchen officially turns to non-kosher this upcoming Monday on June 8th, 2020. So that is pretty cool to, see that they're making, renovations and stuff. It does suck that they're not, kosher anymore, and a lot of the people who are strictly kosher, can't probably eat there anymore and get their coffee. So, I think coffee is one of the most interesting subjects because it is constantly changing. And there's no perfect way to make, coffee and to do coffee and have perfect coffee, but I think that in the end, it all comes down to experimenting and finding what you love, if you can find something that you actually really enjoy. But coffee is one of those interesting things. But I'm actually going to go over here because I made cold brew the other day, actually, and we make it at the shop a lot, and it's one of our most popular. Lately, we've been getting a lot more iced drinks. Iced lattes are awesome. We've been also getting a lot of iced coffees, which is generally just drip coffee with ice in it, and then we've also been getting our shot in the dark that is iced, which is super interesting to me because generally I love my shot in the dark, but super, super hot. But yeah, just to see a lot of people order iced drinks, blended drinks, it's a pain in the barista's asses, so make sure you're tipping them, but it is also, one of the better types of drinks. One thing I did want to mention is there was a outbreak at one of the coffee shops downtown where I live, where actually all of their ice got contaminated. So be very careful when ordering iced drinks. They had apparently bugs in the ice maker, and it ended up making all the iced drinks dangerous. And so I would definitely watch and pay attention to your drinks in the next few months. But yeah, it's just one of those things to keep in the back of your mind. So I've been looking at a few different ways to make cold brew coffee, and a lot of different people make it differently. I have made it in a French press, and I've made it just drip coffee and then adding ice or just putting it in the fridge or freezer, letting it cool. If you put it in the freezer, you don't want to put it too long because it definitely will, actually start to freeze as if, it was just water because it's 90% water. So you got to remember, don't leave it in the freezer if you're going to do it through the freezer. One of the ways I've been wanting to make it is actually in a Chemex, which would be super cool, or making espresso cold brew. I'm positive that that's the thing, but just like an espresso cold brew where you actually brew the espresso shots and keep them, with maybe like keeping a shot in the dark inside of the fridge. The one thing that kind of would not work with that, though, is trying to keep the creme very nice and very creamy and rich still after, because most coffee shops have a few days of cold brew actually made, or sometimes, just a day, but depending on the coffee shop, sometimes it's a few days of actual cold brew that they already have pre-made up. So having, espresso and creme sitting there for X amount of time building up might not be the greatest. It might get old, and, you might be sacrificing a lot of the quality if you end up going that route. So as far as, different steeping, I'm looking at this right now. Steeping this is the definition, and I know this, I just want to kind of reiterate this for all of you. Steeping is the soaking in liquid of a solid, usually so as to extract the flavors. And so right here, it would definitely be to get a stronger, richer flavor. Now, oversteeping is definitely something where you don't want to oversteep, because oversteeping can lead to way powerful coffee, too strong. And so oversteeping, you definitely want to make sure. It can actually go into more of a bitter taste. Especially if you're steeping like a tea, it can definitely go a lot more bitter. But yeah, coffee is the same exact way. There's a certain amount of oils and acids inside of coffees, and actually sugars inside of coffee beans that you need to make sure that are lining up just perfect with how you're wanting to brew and how strong and bold you want to make your roast and coffee. So it really just depends on how you actually want to make it. I don't know. Trying espresso cold brew, I might do it soon. I get my espresso machine soon, so we should be able to make espresso very soon and hopefully experiment with that concept. I also will be getting my Chemex soon, and so we'll be able to experiment with that concept, and we'll be able to go a few different ways. Now, I've been putting out a lot more podcast stuff lately. We're going to go back to our normal schedule very, very soon, where it is just Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. of filming videos and getting reviews done. I'm just working everything out right now on my studio side and trying to get all the content I can to all of you guys out there. So, but that's really all I have for you all today. We will be definitely going into a lot more cold brew stuff soon in the future. And I will definitely keep you guys all updated on the awesome coffee news that keeps roaming around the internet. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. It definitely keeps us brewing. And also make sure you leave a like and comment, again, what age you think that caffeine or coffee should be allowed for kids. My answer, I will let all of you know in the next podcast, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Turn on the bell notifications, and I love all of you so much. Thanks all so much for being here. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I got kind of a sore throat. I was at the gym today, so I hope that didn't affect the podcast too much. But I'd love all of you so much. I can't express how much it's been to have you here, and I will see all of you guys in the next episode of Coffee Bros. That's good. If you guys are still here, also comment the word Kopi Luwak. That's Kopiluwak. Kopi Luwak. It is a coffee that is digested by cats before it is roasted.